Hey everyone, you're watching Ash on Comics. My name is Ash, and this is the In and Out Weekly Comics Pull List for December 19th, 2018. Special Twitter Lockout Edition. Featuring new number ones from Marvel. Defenders, the best defense. Number 1. Infinity Wars, Fallen Guardian. Number 1. Because there definitely has not been enough Infinity Wars. We need much more Infinity Wars for Infinity. Then we have, this is not two, this is one comic. Marvel Superhero Adventures, Captain Marvel, Frost Giants Among Us. This title was so freaking long I needed 2 lines to write it. Number 1, do not miss this. The movie's coming out, hot collector's item. And then Seasons Beatings, number 1. Get it? Seasons Beatings. But it's number 1. Number 1. So, yeah. Twitter Lockout Edition. Oh boy. So, yeah. I've been locked out of Twitter. This is going on. Woke up to this Tuesday morning. Tried 3 different times to make a video on this. Each time I just didn't like what I was doing, or I got interrupted, or just different complications and things. And the last one I did last night, and it was just like 40 minutes long, and I thought about it, and I was like, it's just me droning. No one fucking cares that much. Like, I want to get this out and talk about it, but no one wants to hear me talk about it for 40 minutes. So I'm just going to put it on the beginning of this and combine the old video idea that I had, sum it up and try to get it in a couple minutes, and then do the pull list, and then make an overall video that's more interesting. So here's the deal. You can see on the screen here, Twitter says I violated the rules against hateful conduct, which means do not promote violence against, threaten, or harass other people on the basis of all these various discriminatory categories, right? And I have the 2 tweets here that I'm charged with, both from October 3rd, same day. So it's not Twitter that did this. Someone obviously reported me. I've never been locked before, never had a problem, been on Twitter for years. So I don't feel like this is someone that in the past has been, has a vendetta against me that's been I think it's really someone that I interacted with on Monday, of which there's only 3 people that I did. And one is this guy named Shower Cap, who, if you were following me on Twitter, you might have noticed I did a couple of quote tweets about him calling me a stalker, even though he is the one stalking me. I started quote tweeting him because he kept tweeting me, and I was like, I'm not getting in this rabbit hole arguing with this guy all day. So I just once he went strawman and ad hominem and stuff, like I just dip out. And speaking of that, if you ever get yourself dealing with an SJW, think of there's 4 things that they're going to do, okay? Not necessarily in this order, but usually in this order. First thing is they're going to straw man. If you're getting into argument, that is. They're going to straw man, which means they create an argument that's not really the real argument, but they create a different argument that they can argue that usually is like no one argues. It's like, well, yeah, the Earth's round. Oh, okay, yes, you win that argument. You're correct. Like, they love to do that. Second thing they'll do when you call them out on the straw man is then they'll ad hominem, and that means basically to attack you instead of the argument. They do this a lot. You're gonna watch, and even if you're not talking, watch them engage other people. They're the ones that are always calling people names, labeling them, everything. That's all ad hominem. And when you ad hominem, it means you don't have an argument. You're just trying to discredit the person who's arguing with you as a way of arguing. And that's a terrible way to argue. And that's what they always do because they don't actually have a good argument. Their stance, they don't have one. I mean, there's nothing for them to stand on. They stand for hate, bigotry, lying, everything that Comicsgate stands for. They lie about it because they can't argue that good comics and professional behavior That's something they can't argue, but they still hate us, so they try to make up shit. Number 3 is then they'll lie. Then they'll just start making up shit. They'll slander you. They'll put words in your mouth. I've had SJWs literally, I reply to them, they reply back and accuse me of saying something in just the previous tweet that I didn't say, or pretending as if I didn't say in the previous tweet something I said. They just, it's unbelievable. Like, they would just brazenly, I'll say like, XYZ. I believe in XYZ, and then they'll respond back, well, you don't believe in XYZ. And I'm like, I just stated I believed in XYZ. Like they will just, it's amazing. And then finally, the 4th thing, when all 3 of those things fail, you watch them, they will run and hide, and they'll block you, mute you. Usually block. Muting doesn't accomplish their goals. Very few people mute. Most SJWs block. And the reason they block is not because they don't want to hear you. It's because they want everyone that they engage with, their little echo chamber, they don't want them to see you shutting them down. They don't want to look stupid in front of other people, which no one does. But they also don't want your message being spread. And as soon as you start to win an argument, as soon as you start to make them look stupid, block, because they don't want anyone to see, oh shit, this, So those are the 4 things to pay attention to. Now what I'm doing here, you can see I've been showing these tweets up. Neither of these tweets violate the rules. Both of them are basically philosophical ideas, where one is an example of a conversation between a CG and a pro, and basically saying, if a pro said A and CG says Y, then Y is wrong. And if the pro says Y and CG says A, then A is wrong, because it doesn't matter what is said, it matters who said it. So the problem is never the actual problem. The problem is whichever one CG takes sides with. And I use the word cunt, which is not violating the rules, but I never call anyone a name. In the second tweet, I basically tell Ren, both of these are responses to Ren, that calling a bad person a name isn't a good example to set, but in the greater scheme of things, being a cunt is worse than calling someone a cunt. This had to do with Donald DeLay. I'm almost positive. I can't pull up my Twitter right now because it's locked. And he called Gail Simone a cunt, and then which he came back and was, chastising and ridicule, trying to make Donald DeLay like the biggest hate monger on the planet because he called Gail a cunt, as if Ren hasn't done way worse many times over. And I responded to her agreeing, you're right, calling someone a cunt's not nice. But in the greater scheme of things, actually being a cunt is worse than someone calling someone a cunt, right? Which I was implying that Gail is a cunt. But I'm not actually tweeting that I'm not actually saying that. I'm just saying, philosophically, being a cunt. So I don't feel like I violated either of these. I definitely didn't discriminate. There's no discriminatory based on race, identity, nothing here. And there's no promoting hate. I'm basically saying these are bad. And, so I don't see why Twitter locked my account. Well, I kind of see it. I think Twitter has a cubicle farm of people that answer these little reports. And so, you go in, you report this tweet. Oh, I think this tweet's hate. So they look at it and go, oh, look, die of cancer. Oh, you're a cunt. Oh, my God, this is bad. What's this one? Being a cunt, worse than calling. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, these are bad. And they just flag them and lock it. Someone reported it. I lock it. These guys probably have quotas. They have to do so many a day. They don't have time to spend and give it the thorough treatment they probably deserve, which is what the appeals process is for, and that's what I did. Unfortunately, the appeals process takes who knows how long. It's been a couple days now for me, and I don't know what's going on. And it's Christmas. I can delete these. Like, they told me I can delete these, but I don't want to, because if I do, I void my option to appeal. Which you can see when I pull my Twitter up now, this is what happens. Because I hit the button to begin the process of deleting, and so it goes to here. And now I can't get past this screen. Now, I filed an appeal, and Twitter responded to me saying, oh, hey, thanks for your appeal. We're going to look over it. In the meantime, you can message your friends. You just can't tweet or add, follow people or whatever, but you can message your friends. So I was like, oh, well, that's kind of cool. At least I can like send DMs to people. No, I can't get anywhere. This is the only screen I can get, so they lied. So I don't even know if this is true, that I'll even get my account restored if I do. I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to put this in Twitter's hands, see what they do. And yeah, so there's three suspects that I interacted with Monday. One is this guy, Shower Cap, I told you about. I don't know this guy, but I think I got under his skin when I did these retweets. The other one is SJW Spider-Man, and that could make sense because he's big pals with Renfamous, and he's a scumbucket, and he lies and he hates, and he is the kind of person that he actually does searches on Twitter for anyone mentioning his name. Even if you don't tag him, if you put SJW Spider-Man, he will find and come and be like a fly in your face and won't go away. I had an interaction with him because he was attacking Richard Meyer. Normally I wouldn't bother getting there because Richard can defend himself, but he was tweeting out calling for other people to false flag Richard Meyer on Patreon to hurt his income, which is totally bullshit. I don't care if you disagree with the guy. You don't go after someone's income like that. And he's doing it publicly, and he's doing it out of lies, and that's what's even worse. And this guy, and I called him on it. I'm like, you basically said that all I've ever seen Spider-Man do is cut up Richard's videos into short snippets and take them out of context to try to make him look like he's something he's not. He's just a terrible liar. And I'm calling him out on this, and that's something that we all should do. Okay? If you don't want to get involved, I kind of understand that. It's a pain in the ass, but this isn't people calling people names. This is people going after people's livelihoods. And if 1,000 people jumped on this dude for doing that, it would make a bigger scene. And you got to remember, every time you respond, you're not just responding to the person. You're responding to all the people on the sidelines. And that makes a difference. When people see two people interact and like a vast majority of people jump in on one side, it makes a big difference. It matters. So consider that when you see something grossly just vile and repugnant like what SJW Spider-Man did. I called him on that, and I called him the evil son of a bitch that he is, and not necessarily a son of a bitch, but in words that basically got to my point that he's an evil liar and he just spreads hate and blah blah blah, and nothing necessarily violating Twitter, which obviously that tweet didn't get reported, but I think he might have been like, oh, he's the kind of guy that would be diligent enough to go through everything and try to find something. And then finally, the last one is Don De La Rose, and I don't know if you've seen what's happened. This is a guy I used to support. He supported me. He's been a long time YouTuber, and not a YouTuber. Sorry, he's been a long time comic skater. Big, not a big name, but a prominent name. And he's an author and all this stuff. And he went through a deal with War Campaign. Then he hasn't been the same since. He's been making enemies and doing all this stuff. And lately, I was like, look, you have your problems with individuals like the guys at War Campaign and all this stuff. So be it. People aren't going to agree, right? Even though we're all on Comicsgate, doesn't mean we're going to like each other. That's so be it. But now he's getting to the point where he's burning bridges. He's becoming like the next Mindy Wheeler, which is the video I was trying to put out. It's like he's trying to light fires and burn Comicsgate as he, in his exit. I mean, his exit is imminent at this point. He's made so many enemies that everyone's just like, get the fuck out of here, John. Even people like me who were like supporting him and trying to defend him to other people. And like, no, John's all right. Like, just lay off, like trying to be the peacemaker guy. I can't do it anymore. I'm not going to attack him. But look, John he's saying shit about Comicsgate, saying shit about Comicsgaters, which is saying shit about me. Like, just blanket, not individuals. Like, he's like literally saying all Comicsgaters are when he's doing the SJW shit, where he labels everyone in Comicsgate as this bad person and Comicsgate's this evil thing. It's like, you're turning yourself into an enemy of Comicsgate. And as someone who's a supporter of Comicsgate, you're making me your enemy. And I don't want to be, but you're taking it out of my hands. So at this point, I can't defend the guy anymore. And I feel bad. I don't know what the hell is going through his head, but whatever. So I called him out on that. And this is the first time I actually did. Before I like would tell him I don't agree with what he says, but I still kind of like said, respectfully, I still support you. This time I'm like, John, you're just wrong. You're making enemies. You're totally called him out on it. And because he's kind of flipping his lid so much, honestly, I think he's suspect number one. I think he's the one. If I had to pick one of those three to report me, it'd be in that order. Number 3 would be the first guy, Shower Cap. Number 2 would be Spider-Man. Number 1 suspect would be John. I just really do. I don't have any proof. All of this was suspicion, just based on hunches and guesses. It could be neither. It could be some random guy who just saw my tweet and was like, "Oh my God, I'm so outraged." But to dig all the way back to October, I do a lot of tweets. I mean, that's a lot of scrubbing. And to find something so narrow as this, I mean, that's really reaching to report they're looking for anything they could. So anyways, that is the short version. I know you're like, Jesus, what was the long version? Yeah, you don't want to know. And I'm not going to post it. And you're like, thank God. So here I am, back to what you really came for, the In-N-Out Comics weekly pull list. It's not In-N-Out this time. It's like come and stay. But we're going to unbox. We'll get to those later. Oh, you wait. Oh, and look, I got Lemonade again. I was going without Lemonade for a while. Oh, man. So good. Look at that. Look at it. Witness its glory. Witness, it looks like the picture. You go up and you can order a double. What's the picture look like? It looks like that. Except no pickles, because they normally don't put pickles unless you ask. So, now it's time to get to the comic books. So let's push this aside. Let's grab comics. All right, look at this. See, this week felt like a kind of a big haul, but only $33, so not bad. I get 20% off, so that helps a little bit. Let's see what I got. The new, can you believe Justice League? I'm going to show the picture here. Can you believe Justice League is on issue 14 already? Doesn't it feel like this just came out a couple months ago? 14 issues. Damn. This is my least favorite Justice League cover thus far. Yeah. I don't like it. I can't switch back and forth between alts and non-alts, though. Maybe I could have at this point. My comic book store also doesn't like. They kind of told me the other day. They're like, we don't want people. If you want all covers pulled, so be it. Like we'll pull all of them as alts, or pull none. They don't want like this comic is an alt, this one is not. Like it just makes it way too complex for them. Which I agreed. I was like, okay, I mean, and they're a big store. Right? Doing a pull list for all your customers is a pain in the ass. I've done that in the past. Worked at a comic book shop when I was young. And it's work getting, especially with nowadays, how many books actually come out. When I was doing it, it was a fraction of as many comics. So having people now just be like, okay, I want this book with the B cover variant, this book with the A cover. It easily gets messed up. So I was like, okay, I'm cool. I usually get there Wednesday morning anyway, so they pull the alt cover. The alt covers are usually the first ones to go, so I have the opportunity to swap it out. Anyways, yeah, there's Justice League. You don't care. Then take a look at this. Oh, geez, stupid lighting. The bag is messing it up. But I just watched Sergeant Bat's video on his pull list that he gets a week or a day early because the chump is friends with a comic book store that he sort of works at, sort of doesn't, and gets his books a day early. and he reviews them. And he's actually got his Christmas book, because the Christmas books were shipped a week early. And he pulled Batman, and he talked about how he doesn't like these alternate covers because of all the dead space and so forth. He likes the trade dress, which I agree. I kind of like that. I like the trade dress. If these alt covers, if the art on these wasn't so much better, I wouldn't have a problem. I don't know. I think, honestly, I don't really like variant covers. With this book, if it had the Batman logo right here and the trade dress, but this art, do that. That's the perfect marriage of the two. I wish I could show you well, I kind of can. By the way, I've been meaning to do a video on this. I don't know if anyone uses any apps or whatever for their comic book collecting. I use this one, the Comic Geeks, I forget what it's called, and it manages my pull list. It doesn't have everything on here, which I won't go into right now why, but basically when I go in the store, I pull up my phone, and this is what should be in my pull list. And then I double check that, okay, yep, they got everything, so they didn't miss anything. And then I go to the wall, and then there's books I buy that aren't in my pull list. That way I'm not committed to them. So these are the ones that I'm like committed to, and I keep tab. And then you can see the variant covers. Yay. That's not working. New Comics, DC. Anyways, of course, now when you try to do it on video, it's not. Oh my goodness. Okay, whatever. Now I try to do it on video, it looks bad. But you can see it's got little things like here's my icon of the books that it's pulling for me. Usually it shows you all the variant covers, but for whatever reason, for Batman, it only has the variant. Like see here, Freedom Fighters. You can get Freedom Fighters, and you can see the variant version as well. And you can see like I didn't pull. This is not my pull list, but I did. Spoiler, I picked it up. So then there's Nightwing, number 55. Scott Lobdell and Fabian Nicieza again collaborating. I'm not really sure why. I think Fabian Nicieza is a big enough name that he can write his own books. Why does Scott have to plot them? And I'm sure there's a reason. Whatever. Bats, you decided to get this book, however, instead of the normal cover Nightwing. I don't understand why. He chastises me for buying Nightwing because he thinks it's bad, but yet he buys Nightwing and he buys the alternate covers, which he also says doesn't like. I don't get you, Bats. I think you're batshit crazy. Maybe that's why you're called Sergeant Bats. I jest, of course. Bats is a cool guy. Damage. When Silencer I dropped because they decided to put SJW Asshole on the book. I was like, I'm not buying it. I decided, well, why am I not buying this book? Because Venditti's doing it. Damage, big Hulk characters are not my style of comic. So this is one of the ones I skipped when the New Age of Heroes books came out. And it's funny now that they've canceled all the books I like, and Silencer I dropped because of other reasons. I was like, well, I like the New Age of Heroes. I would have collected all of them had I had the budget. I guess I'll get this one. And since it's, pretty close, I went and found the whole series. So now I have all of Damage and I'm following it, and yay, Damage. And here's a spoiler, Freedom Fighters. Now this one had an alternate cover, but I didn't get it because for whatever reason DC decides on their miniseries to do the alternate cover on issue 1 only, and then all the rest of the issues are normal. They did this to me on Electric Warriors. They did this on Adventures of Super Sons. And then the next issue, I go to get it, and I'm like, there's no alt cover. And it drives me bananas for my books not to be the same. Like when the old alt covers where they just have all the trade dress but just a different picture, that's fine because design wise they still fit. But when it's like a naked, or a version cover or this cover and it alternates, I can't stand it. And so I was like, well, not getting the alternate cover for Freedom Fighters, even though it looks sweet. And then Livewire. What's Livewire? That's a good question. I don't know. But I'll tell you what I do know is Valiant. And Valiant is underlooked, criminally underlooked. And I got to thinking about that, and I was saw this on the wall today, and I was like, oh yeah, I think I heard something about this coming out. I'm just going to read number 1. I don't know. It might suck. Might not be my cup of tea. Don't really know, but I know Valiant makes good books. And I want to support good publishers that are making good books. I think that's crucial as a comic book fan for all of us. If we want good books, we need to support the good books. If we don't support the good books, there's no reason for publishers to pay good creators to make good books. Because they can still just make mediocre books and they'll sell the same amount. So why should they have no incentive to go the extra mile. We have to reward them. So I will check out Livewire. I missed out on the last Valiants. I had to catch up because I didn't pay attention. I'm going to read this and see if it's good. Speaking of Valiant, the new Bloodshot series is on number 2. You can jump in on this if you missed the last one, Salvation. I'm not as fan of the art, and it is a different writer, so I'll try to get a review out on these, let you know if they're really worth your time. But speaking of worth your time, most criminally underlooked ongoing comic in comics, X-O Manowar. And I've never been an X-O Manowar fan. I never liked the concept. I never was like I did collect Iron Man when I was a kid, but I've never been the whole like man in a power armor thing. Just nah. And one of my favorite YouTubers who's absent lately, he hasn't done video in like a month or two, and I just dropped off the face of the earth. That's Trajan Channel. I loved his videos, and when this series was early, was hot on it. He was like, "Oh, X-O Manowar is so good," and I was like, X-O Manowar. And then my Comixology, I have Comixology Unlimited, has this whole series. Well, up to, it's not fully up to date. It's a little backlogged, but I mean, it has most of this series you can read for free on the Comixology Unlimited. So I tried out the first book, like the trades, and it was just the first 3 issues. And I was like, oh my God, this book is astounding. Like, the art quality was amazing. I mean, amazing. Like, top-notch art with writing that just was, it was another level. I feel like I've been reading bad comics for so long. That's not true. I mean, some of the comics are really good. But I feel like the industry as a whole, the bar has come down so low that our expectations just were more easily impressed. And I read X-O Manowar and I was like, oh my God, this is such a good book. Like, I couldn't believe what I was reading. This is what our expectations used to be. It was this breath of fresh air that it's like, living in the city for all your life, and then you go up into the mountains and breathe real, natural air, and you're like, oh my God, I can breathe. I don't know what this is like. And Firefly, I'm giving this one a shot. It looks like there could be a quality series here with Boom Studios. Cross my fingers. I don't have faith necessarily that Boom Studios can pull it off, but it is Greg Pak, who's not, he's not a superstar writer, but he's a Big Two writer. He's quality, he's capable of getting books in the Big Two. So this isn't just some Tumblr guy that they found. I'm going to check these out. See a review on these real soon. And then finally, last but not least, Alterna Comics. You should be supporting $1.50. You won't believe the quality of these books. If you're like me, you're going to flip through and read them on newsprint. And, when I say newsprint, a lot of people are like, oh, newsprint. But when you start flipping through it and reading them, you're like, wow, this isn't bad. This isn't a bad. In fact, this is a good experience. The texture of the paper, it feels like a comic book. You know, you feel like this is what comic books used to be. This is what they should be. And for $1.50, you can. If all comics were like this, you'd be able to experiment a lot more. You know, you'd be able to check out more titles. You'd be able to buy more titles. It wouldn't be breaking the bank. You know, think if you could buy 10 comics every week and it'd be $10.50. You know, just, and these aren't schlock. I ignored alternate comics for so long because I just looked at them and was like, this is a schlocky, cheapy books. And they're not big too, right? I'm not going to kid you. This isn't primetime comics. But they're not trash, okay? There's good stuff here. And I haven't read all of alternate comics, but so far the ones I've read, I've found value. And I meant to do Eden, and I'm behind on this. I want to get review on this. But so far, Exilium I've read, and what's the Blood Realm? I both enjoy those. And Eden I picked up because it's another sci-fi book, and with comic books, I pretty much am superheroes only, but I'll read sci-fi sometimes. And Blood Realm, I do like fantasy, but not usually in comic books. But Blood Realm was so different that I decided to check it out. It had really cool aesthetics, and I really enjoyed it. So, yeah. Pick up, do yourself a favor, pick up an alternate book. Just throw in $1.50 to your pull list. Try one out. They're usually in really short miniseries. You can go up on Alterna's website and order them directly from Alterna if you want to get like the back issues that you missed out on. Peter Simeti is a fantastic, fantastic guy who deserves at least your attention before you give him your business. I think he'll win your business over. Yes, I'm so glad that I discovered Alterna and broke my prejudice. So before I go, I just wanted to give a shout out real quick to I Love Comics, aka England Teen on social media. Most people refer him to as England Teen. I Love Comics is one of the same. He does a YouTube channel like many of us. He does a little bit different things than a lot of people, so that's one of the things I would recommend him for. One of the things I like on his channel is he does this top 20 countdown of comics that are sold in stores, not just ordered. And I find that interesting. He compares DC, Marvel, and Independence and seeing like how they rank every week. I think that's it's an interesting video that he does. And he does other stuff. Last night he was kind enough to let me dip in on the end of his live stream, and we ended up chatting after stream for a good long time, and it was a lot of fun. He's a good guy, and his channel is worth checking out. And I wanted to congratulate him. I don't know if he's going to watch my videos, but he was commenting how he had lost subscribers and he had dipped under 10,000. And I was like, oh, that's a bummer. And but congratulations, I logged in today and look, he's exactly at 10,000. So congratulations on hitting that milestone exactly again. Everyone, thanks for watching. I know this is a long pull list video. I'll try not to make this the norm. All right, take care.